far, far away, in a sunny land called ancient Persia, where the golden light made everything glow, and whispers of old stories danced in the desert wind. Two brothers, Alibaba and Kazim, lived very different lives. Their father had passed away when they were young, and their paths had twisted in separate directions. Alibaba, the younger brother, had a kind and humble heart. He didn't care much for shiny things or lots of money. He married Zara, a gentle and loving woman, and together they made their home in a small, cozy cottage. Their life wasn't rich with gold, but it was absolutely overflowing with love and warmth. Every single day, Alibaba would bravely carry his axe deep into the whispering woods, a forest that seemed to hum with ancient secrets, to cut wood. His hands were rough and strong from all his hard work, but he always faced life with a calm and peaceful smile. For Alibaba, being honest and kind was more important than anything. Even if being a woodcutter meant his family often had to do without many luxuries. He was happy with what he had, finding pure joy in simple pleasures and Zara's sweet company. He believed that a good heart was the greatest treasure a man could possess. Kazim, the older brother, was the complete opposite. After their father's death, Kazim quickly married Fatima, a very wealthy but often boastful lady. This marriage helped Kazim gather a huge amount of treasure and money, turning his home into a dazzling, fancy palace. Kazim lived a life of pure luxury, filled with big parties, silky clothes, and sparkling jewels that glittered in the sun. But with every coin he gained, his greed grew bigger and bigger, pulling him further away from kindness and family love. For Kazim, money was everything. It was how he measured a person's worth, and by his own standards, he was the most worthy man in all of Persia. He often looked down on Alibaba and Zara, secretly mocking them and wondering how his brother could possibly be happy living such a simple, poor life. He couldn't understand that some things, like love and honor, couldn't be bought. The vast differences in their fortunes, their lives, and even their hearts set the stage for a dramatic adventure. One brother was honest and simple, finding wealth in his family's love. The other was greedy and grand, seeing value only in gold and silver. This big difference would not only shape their own lives, but also open a door to a magical journey, where ancient secrets and glittering treasures waited to be found. And so, our story begins. A tale of two brothers on a collision course with destiny. This was just the beginning of an unexpected and exciting tale. A story about goodness and greed, about fate and discovery. What happens when the simple woodcutter stumbles upon a secret far greater than any treasure his brother could ever imagine? The answer lies hidden, waiting for one special phrase to unlock it all. One special morning, sunlight streamed through the leaves of the whispering woods, lighting up the forest floor. Alibaba was busy at his usual job, chopping wood. The gentle rustle of leaves and the cheerful chirping of birds were his daily companions. But suddenly, a new sound cut through the peace, the thunderous rumble of galloping horses. It grew louder and louder, closer and closer. Alibaba's heart began to pound. He had never heard so many horses in these quiet woods before. Sensing trouble, the quick-thinking woodcutter scrambled up a giant old tree nearby. He hid himself among its thick green branches, holding his breath and peeking down. He tried to blend in with the forest, hoping he wouldn't be seen. Just moments later, a large group of men on horseback appeared. It was a fearsome band of robbers, their faces dusty and their eyes sharp and cold. They were the 40 thieves. What amazed Alibaba even more were the heavy sacks they carried. Sacks that seemed to be overflowing with glittering gold and precious gems. The 40 thieves stopped right in front of a tall, mighty rock face. It looked completely normal, with no sign of any entrance. The captain of the thieves, a big man with a fierce face and fiery eyes, stepped forward. He stood tall, and his voice boomed like thunder through the valley as he shouted a strange, magical command, "Open, Sesame." And then, something incredible happened. With a low rumble and the grinding of stone on stone, the solid rock wall split in two, revealing the dark opening of a huge cave. Alibaba, clinging to the tree, couldn't believe his eyes. The robbers, one by one, urged their horses inside, carrying their heavy treasure sacks. Time seemed to slow down for Alibaba as he waited, listening to the muffled sounds echoing from inside the cave. After a while, the 40 thieves reappeared, but this time their sacks were empty and light. They gathered together once more. The captain of thieves stepped forward again, his powerful voice unwavering, and commanded, "Close, Sesame." Instantly, the gigantic rock wall trembled and slowly slid shut, sealing itself as if it had never been open, erasing all traces of the secret entrance. Like a whirlwind, the 40 thieves spurred their horses and galloped away, disappearing back into the whispering woods. They left Alibaba alone in the silent forest. He remained hidden in the tree, utterly stunned, his heart still beating wildly as he tried to understand the incredible magic he had just witnessed. Once the 40 thieves were long gone, their thundering hoofbeats and harsh laughter finally fading into the quiet of the whispering woods, Alibaba still trembled on the high tree branch. His heart pounded like a drum against his ribs. A little bit of fear still tickled his stomach, but a spark of adventure, a powerful curiosity, was starting to glow in his mind. Taking a deep breath, he carefully climbed down from his hiding spot. His legs wobbled as his feet touched the ground, which still seemed to hum from the thieves' presence. With each soft step, Alibaba tiptoed closer to the huge rock face, the very spot where a secret door had magically opened just moments before. The rock felt rough and ancient under his fingers, full of mystery. In his head, he replayed the captain's special words like a magical chant. His heart started to beat faster again, a mix of excitement and worry bubbling up inside him. Should he really try? What if the thieves came back? But the thought of the hidden treasures was stronger than any fear. Taking one more brave breath, Alibaba looked up at the big rock door. In a soft but determined voice, he copied every single sound, every nuance of the captain's command, "Vangye Mura." There was no doubt, no hesitation, just a true belief in the magic he had witnessed. And then, a long, creaking, groaning sound filled the air, breaking the forest's hush. The ground beneath Alibaba's feet seemed to shake gently. Slowly, with a spooky kind of slowness, the giant stone door began to swing inward, revealing a dark, empty space. He couldn't believe his eyes. The magic had worked again. The door opened wider and wider, showing a path leading deep into the mountain, where a soft, glowing light peeked out, promising a whole new world. Alibaba stepped into the secret treasure cave, his steps still a little shaky. He felt like he was walking into a dream. The sight inside made his jaw drop. It wasn't a small room or a narrow tunnel, but a huge, sparkling cavern, shining as if it were covered in tiny stars. Everywhere he looked, there were mountains of shimmering gold, shiny silver, and dazzling jewels piled up in amazing splendor. The gold wasn't just coins. There were bright, gleaming gold bars and fancy gold vases with beautiful designs. Silver sparkled in piles like little hills. Diamonds, emeralds, rubies, and sapphires of every color and size lay everywhere, stacked on top of each other. They caught the light and bounced it back as beautiful rainbows, making the whole cave glow. Alibaba's tiny lantern seemed useless now. The light from the treasures was enough to light up every corner. He walked around, his eyes wide, absolutely amazed. This wasn't just the treasure of one king, but of many kings. The sweet smell of precious metals and cool stones floated in the air. Alibaba's heart pounded so fast he could feel it echo in his ears. This was more wealth than he could ever count. A dream come true, but also a very big secret. He whispered, his voice soft with wonder. This is enough to feed our whole village for their entire lives. For a quick second, he thought about taking it all, becoming the richest man in ancient Persia. But then, true to his kind and honest nature, Alibaba shook off that greedy thought. He didn't want to be like the thieves, stuffing himself with things that weren't truly his. He only wanted to help his family escape poverty, to give Zara and Kareem a comfier life, where they wouldn't have to worry about every meal. He decided to take only what they needed, just enough to change their lives without drawing too much attention. Very carefully, Alibaba found some old, empty sacks the thieves had left behind. He started to fill a few, not with huge gold bars or giant diamonds, but with sparkling gold coins and some smaller, pretty jewels. He wasn't greedy. He chose carefully, making sure each sack held just enough treasure for him to carry without looking suspicious. Every gold coin he picked up felt like a promise of a brighter future for his family. He didn't take too much, just a tiny fraction of that huge treasure, but for him, it was a fortune. When he had filled 3 sacks, Alibaba sighed softly, still amazed but full of hope. He knew his life, and his family's lives, had just changed forever. With his sacks discreetly filled, Alibaba hurried back to his humble home, his mind buzzing with the incredible secret he now harbored. Each step on the familiar path felt both light with excitement and heavy with the weight of his discovery. He thought of Zara, his kind wife, and a wide smile spread across his face as he imagined her surprised reaction. The setting sun painted the whispering woods in shades of rose and gold, but Alibaba barely noticed its usual beauty. His heart beat like a joyful drum, urging him to get home quickly. He dreamed of a life free from worry, of warm meals, and a sturdy home for Zara and their little son. As he neared his house, Alibaba became extra careful. He snuck the heavy sacks inside, making sure no curious eyes saw him. Zara, who was preparing their simple dinner, turned to look at her husband with a worried frown. "You're late, Alibaba. Is everything all right?" she asked, her voice trembling slightly. Alibaba took her hand, pulling her into the darkest corner of their small house, where the flickering oil lamp barely cast its light. "Zara, you won't believe your eyes," he whispered, his own eyes sparkling with excitement. Slowly, with a dramatic flourish, Alibaba opened each sack. The golden glow from the coins and the rainbow sparkle from the jewels seemed to light up the whole room. Zara gasped, her eyes widening so much, Alibaba thought they might pop out. She rubbed them, not quite believing what she saw. "Alibaba, ... this is ... double quotes. Her voice caught in her throat. She couldn't find the words. She reached out, gently touching a string of luminous pearls, then a dazzling diamond. Happy tears began to roll down her cheeks. It wasn't just about being rich. It was about being free from the heavy burden of poverty that had weighed them down for so long. In that magical moment, surrounded by glittering treasure, Alibaba and Zara sat close together. "We must keep this a secret, Zara," Alibaba said, his voice serious. "This is a gift from fate, but it could also bring danger if we're not careful." Zara nodded eagerly, understanding her husband's words completely. They made a quiet promise, a pact woven with hope and caution. They would never show off, never let greed take hold of their hearts. They would only use this wealth to make their lives better, to have enough food, warm clothes, and to fix up their humble home that was slowly falling apart. Life in Alibaba's home began to change quietly, little by little. Their meals were no longer just dry bread and a few vegetables. Now, fresh meat and sweet fruits often appeared on their table. Zara sewed new clothes for herself, and Alibaba from better, warmer fabric for the coming winter. Their small house was repaired. The roof no longer leaked, and the walls were painted a clean white. Kareem, their little son, now had simple wooden toys and magical bedtime stories told by his mother every night. All these changes happened discreetly, without any fanfare. Alibaba still went into the Whispering Woods each morning, but not to chop wood for a living. Instead, he did it to keep his routine, so no one would suspect anything. Zara still went to the market, but she shopped more freely, sometimes even buying little gifts for the neighbors' children. However, no matter how hard they tried, these subtle changes could not entirely escape the notice of those around them. A vague curiosity, a few speculative glances, began to appear in the villagers' hushed conversations. They wondered, how could Alibaba's family, who had once been so poor, slowly become so comfortable without any obvious miracle? The seeds of suspicion had begun to sprout, quietly waiting to grow. In Alibaba's humble home, a gentle hum of contentment had replaced the whistle of the wind through cracks in the walls. Their bellies no longer rumbled with hunger. Zara hummed soft tunes as she cooked, and Alibaba's steps were lighter, free from the heavy burden of worry. They didn't live extravagantly. They simply mended their roof, bought warmer clothes, and tended to their small garden. Their life was still simple, but it was now wrapped in a warm blanket of comfort, all thanks to a few sacks of treasure from the secret cave. But even the quietest changes cast long shadows. In ancient Persia, whispers traveled faster than desert winds. Alibaba's brother Kazim and his wife Fatima lived in a grand house filled with silk and carved wood, yet their hearts were never content. Fatima, with eyes as sharp as a hawk's, was the first to notice the change in her sister-in-law. She saw Zara's once ragged clothes replaced by sturdy, colorful fabrics, her face glowing with a peace Fatima had never seen. One afternoon, Fatima visited, her voice dripping with false sweetness. "Zara, my dear," she purred, "it seems the woodcutting business has become exceptionally prosperous. Your home has such a charming new roof, and these delicious pastries. They taste of fine honey and rare spices. Tell me, what is your wonderful secret?" Zara, ever gentle, tried to deflect. She mumbled about a lucky sale or a good patch of wood, but Fatima pressed on, her smile never faltering, though her questions grew sharper, like thorns on a rose. "Nonsense, Zara. No woodcutter suddenly gains such refinement. I see new silver on your table and hear bells on Alibaba's new donkey. You are keeping something from me." Her voice, though still sweet, now held a definite edge of suspicion and a green tint of envy. Meanwhile, Kazim, whose eyes were always on his own fortune, also noticed the subtle shift. He saw Alibaba in decent, well-mended clothes. He saw Zara, no longer haggard, but with a serene glow. And he saw their donkey, not bony and tired, but plump and strong. Greed, a familiar beast in Kazim's chest, began to stir, growing hungrier with each observation. Finally, unable to contain himself, Kazim marched over to Alibaba's home, his face a thundercloud. He skipped the pleasantries. "Brother," he boomed, his voice echoing in the small home. "What magic have you discovered? How have you, a simple woodcutter, suddenly found such wealth? Don't try to deceive me. Your poverty was as plain as the desert sand. Now, your home smells of prosperity, and Zara wears finer clothes than a queen. Tell me your secret, Alibaba. Tell me now. Alibaba's heart sank. He had known this day would come. Qasim's eyes gleamed with a dangerous mix of curiosity and avarice, mirroring Fatima's earlier probing. The warmth of his peaceful new life suddenly felt fragile, threatened by his greedy brother's demands. He tried to offer vague explanations, but Qasim wouldn't be swayed. His brother's relentless questioning felt like daggers. Alibaba knew that if he didn't reveal the truth, Qasim's pursuit would only grow more desperate and perhaps more dangerous. The secret of the cave, once a blessing, now felt like a heavy stone in his heart, threatening to unleash a perilous chain of events.